Hello and welcome to All About Your Benjamins, the podcast. This is the More Than Money series, as you can see if you're watching this on YouTube. Today I get to introduce you to my friend Melissa Joy. Melissa is the author of the chapter that begins on page 221, and it is From Unanswered Questions to Financial Confidence. Let me give you Melissa's bio real quick, and then we'll get you to the episode so you can hear what she had to say about her chapter of the book, what she wants people to know about financial advisors, and more. So Melissa is a CFP professional and also has the CDFA designation. She's worked in the investment and financial planning world for more than 20 years. In 2018, she founded a new wealth management company, Pearl Planning, located in Dexter, Michigan. At Pearl Planning, Melissa and her colleagues like to say they offer clients financial planning for real life. Melissa works with clients at all stages of life. Particular areas of focus include life transitions, such as divorce and widowhood, as well as planning for entrepreneurs and those receiving equity compensation. Outside of work, Melissa loves spending time with her husband, Jeff, and school-age children, Gus and Josie. All right, Melissa is a tremendous financial advisor. Her chapter is very good, and I'm excited for you to get to hear from her. So I will end this intro and get you right to Melissa. Enjoy the conversation. Melissa, the question I've been kicking everybody off with is just, how many years have you been a financial advisor?
Okay, I just heard you say we were going to ask that, and I feel really old. This is a quarter century that I've been in financial services. I had a big evolution. I didn't know I was going to be in this profession, and then investing, and then financial planning, but 1998 was the
All right.
start.
I'm a little bit behind you. 2004 was my start, so I'm coming up on 8, not too far behind you. So, well,
I feel like we're in the same cohort.
And it's funny because I have people that I start to stretch though. Like, yeah, you and I are definitely in the same cohort, but I look at some of the guys that are like 26, 27, and like I'm reaching to be a part of their cohort when I know I'm not.
Please keep
Exactly.
me in your group. That's one of the reasons I love advisor growth community.
Well, so coming up
ideas.
on the time in the profession, countless clients, countless experiences. What was it about this particular one that was the story From Unanswered Questions to Financial Confidence? You can find it on page 221 in the book. By now, listen to all these episodes because I'm pretty sure I'm going to put these in order of the chapters. Melissa kind of brings us home. She's second to last, so we're saving the best for the last. But what was it about this story that you chose for the book?
Well, this story is ongoing and it's deeply personal. It is a discussion of an advisory path for someone who is a friend first. And when you read the chapter, you'll know, and I think I have to disclose this to really talk about the episode. It starts with the loss of a spouse by suicide. So deep, abrupt, just, stunning start. And then the whole story is about the journey from there, and how there are so many moments that are so personal but so important that money touches, and our conversations and work together touch. And people assume you need to kind of get some stuff taken care of when you hire an advisor out of a loss or a windfall or something like that. And the reality is, yes, you do need to take care of some stuff, but you also have the opportunity to become a really important, trusted professional and be along on a journey that can be incredibly powerful. So this story touches my heart from person to person, as well as we've just rolled up our sleeves. And I even have a coda, the person who I describe in this chapter just bought a house. She owned a home when her husband died, and then rented and has lived in several places over the years. It's been more than a decade, and just bought the first postmarital home in the last month. So what a celebration, but we had a lot of discussions along the way about
How difficult was it for you to kind of navigate this with her? I mean, obviously there's the number side, which can be unemotional, but here's a person who's going through a tough time. You work with them, you care about them. You said they were a friend first, so there's that deep level. How hard was it for you to work through this as the advisor?
There were a lot of tears. There was a lot of emotion and also just frustration, because the reality is that society just is not prepared to deal with death. And that goes to financial institutions as well. And so, the indignity of having to call service lines, 800 numbers to talk to your spouse's benefits coordinator. And, the script says, I am so sorry for your loss, but the delivery is inadequate. And, it's uncomfortable. We don't talk about death. As a society, we're not comfortable with that. And I was just thinking about this in regards to another client's estate, that just we can all do better about empathy and compassion. And so I really felt like a vessel that needed to be an intermediary in many cases. And so it was a lot of work and really challenging on an emotional and, level of complexity from the technical side of financial planning. And I think the people that I was working with at the time, my paraplanner and admin as well, we all felt it. Like, gosh, there should be a way to do this in a more dignified manner. But I really think we were able to assist in a way to help it feel more manageable, even though there were still those indignities that just come along in the process.
Yeah, we definitely don't like to talk about death as a society. There's different other societies that, like, not that they're excited for death, but it's common conversation. It's more of a celebration. It's not something to be afraid of. And it's something that we Americans, for the most part, are afraid of, so we don't talk about it. And then you add that to the fact that we don't talk about money either. And it's very easy to see how this can get very complicated. But I think not only can the conversation centered around death help with making sure that if something happens, it's a lot easier and smoother. And maybe we can't fix what the institutions do by itself, but at least for the people who are still around, it makes it easier for them. But I also think the conversation around death is helpful when it comes to the planning process of really figuring out, like, what's most important to you, and while you're here living, are you doing the things you want, living the life that you want? And talking about death and your mortality kind of brings that to the table as well.
I don't think you can have a discussion about legacy without that component of mortality. And legacy is such a powerful opportunity within our profession and the work that we do with people. So, and we also talk about the other the other topics nobody wants to talk about, not primarily money. So why not throw in death and taxes, right, which we do. And, it may not be the most comfortable chapter of the book, but I think it's really important. And I know that I hope that there's somebody who has this chapter to access, whether you're a planner or a person trying to help a friend, or you're going through this situation yourself, God forbid, that I hope that it reaches someone and provides that message that there are deeply hurtful times that a planner can help, but also there's a journey and path to a new chapter that may not be the same as you had planned, but can also be meaningful with purpose and bring satisfaction in a life.
Well, no doubt it's going to be one of the more emotional chapters, and that uncomfortableness is actually good, because uncomfortableness is what usually makes people take action. And if we can get people to take action before the thing actually happens, then even better. So even if it makes somebody uncomfortable enough to take some action to call an advice, or even not call advice, review what they have laid out and understand and have a conversation with their spouse or whatever it may be. Unfortunately, sometimes the uncomfortable chapter is the one that gets people to act. I think we've hit on it.
I mean, there's little things, even if people listen to this, like his passwords were all locked away under a passkeeper, like just sharing information with each other. If I could encourage one thing, we're using an extreme example, but hopefully it inspires and empowers people to gain more knowledge if they're in a relationship where someone else has some of the information. It's
funny we have this conversation now, because I've personally been thinking about this. So Ange and I have a good conversation on money, and she knows where things are, but she doesn't like to get into it too much. But we've opened some accounts and transferred some things around since we've been married. So it's time. I need to update everything, and I do have this fear that if something happened to me, it wouldn't be clean for Ange right now, which is a shame as a financial advisor. But it's kind of like the house cleaner who has a dirty house. Like we take care of everybody else, and ours kind of sits to the side. We'll get to it later. So I think that I don't believe in coincidence. I think that part of the reason we're having this conversation recording today is I was just thinking about this weekend. I need to sit down and update my binder and then take the format of that binder and bring it to my clients and say, hey, I encourage all of you to create something similar. If you want some help, we'll create it for you, swing by the office and give it to you, just from an organization standpoint. So it's funny how those things work out.
And you know it in the house of a financial planner too. Jeff's the same way. Like, I open the accounts and do things, and he likes to stay informed, but this is not his passion. And if it's that difficult for us, then think about it in a household that's busy, and that's not someone's profession. So great reminders. And I hope, hopefully it's a lot of good productive work, and very few people need to go through a crisis where that would help.
We've touched on kind of the main message of the chapter, but if you wanted to summarize it, like what's the main message you hope readers take away from the chapter?
I think an important message is, for some people, a financial planner can really be I love this is more of a marketing term, but like, you are going to guide your ship, your Luke Skywalker or Han Solo, but the financial planner can be your Yoda, who is along on the journey, weighs in and reminds you of what you wanted to accomplish, what you want to get done. And this is really a story where we've been on that mission for quite a few years, and I really feel like the impact of planning has empowered the person that I've worked with. It has I've had the ability to say yes. So she wanted to change locations and move to California and then Colorado, and we were able to do that, and it made sense financially. Gone through several jobs, had some time where she worked less, and so all of that message of your financial planner can be someone who helps you maintain context with your short and long-term goals, and not just kind of wing it, where it's okay for now, but it messes things up long-term. That's really what we were able to do, and we've done together.
The concept of us being like a Yoda to our clients is not, I think, the stereotype of what a financial advisor is. I think, one stereotype, and I'm going to have you bust one of them. You take your pick which stereotype I'm going to bust here in a second. But I think one stereotype is the sales guy or gal. So it's all going to be about sales, product, stock picking, that type of stuff. But then I also think there's a stereotype out there that we are like the fun police. Like, no, you got to save. No, you got to prepare. You got to have a big nest egg for retirement. Don't take that vacation. Don't move to California. And it's no, 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 no. And sometimes we have to say no, but not all the time. And I'll tell you what, I've had some of the coolest conversations, not even saying yes, but telling my client, you better go do this. Like, they express interest in it, and they kind of like, not sure if they should do it. I'm like, no, you better do it. And if I don't hear that you did this, I'm going to be very upset. And it's very cool to be in a position to help somebody get there. And then, as a lot of you will find out over time, you spend so much time saving and building that it's hard to go spend, because going to spend works against the behavior that got to the point to where you can spend. So giving them that little nudge to say, hey, go take that trip or go buy that couch, whatever it might be, has been a lot of fun.
I agree with you. I like to say yes. And I tell people, there is a small subset of clients who need to hear no firmly. And there's also a small subset that will never feel empowered to say yes, because they're just in austerity, scarcity mode. But for the vast majority of people, the ability to say yes and have people feel confident about the decision to say yes and do the things that they dream of doing is one of the most powerful things I can do. And my team just had a retreat, and we talked about our company values, which are not all they're not all financial, and they're not all numbers. They're feelings. One of them is courageous authenticity, cultivating community, and gratitude and abundance, which typifies our clients as well as our team. But one of our team members suggested that we really need a value that's all about empowerment. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is so true. Like, you're not handing over the keys to your car when you hire a financial planner. You're actually, it's a coach. It's someone who is empowering you to make the right decisions. So
It's a co-pilot. Huge. It's almost like driver's ed. Like the advisor is the one on the side with the emergency brake if we need it, but otherwise we're going to let you figure it out and experience it. And if we need to step in, we can and help out. So that's a great analogy. So we talk about misconceptions. What's one misconception? It doesn't have to be the two that I highlighted, but what's a misconception you'd like to shoot down about financial advisors? You've got a little platform here that you can let people know that if they think this about advisors, that's not necessarily true.
Well, I do think that product sales orientation, while out there, is not what anybody in More Than Money is doing. They're looking at your whole life and trying to empower you. And there's a huge community of financial planners and financial advisors who are they have a global scope. They're seeing your whole life, and they're trying to give you the best advice for that life. And so the more we can get the message that financial services aren't just products, that financial advice is advice first, and then you implement the tools that you need to achieve that, the better. And I think we can never say that message.
And to piggyback on that, I think that there's also this belief that in some regards has been true for a long time, that financial advice is not accessible to everybody. And while we haven't fixed that problem to be able to bring financial advice to everybody, I will say that the profession is doing a pretty good job with innovation and people and advisors building businesses in different ways to serve different groups of people, that it is coming. There is more access coming. And while we may not be able to work with every client at every income level or situation, for those that maybe can't afford to work with an advisor or haven't found an advisor with a model that works for them, there's a lot of great free resources out there like this book. The book's not going to walk you through, but if you read it, there's a lot of lessons, there's a lot of answers there. There's a lot of blogs out there, a lot of podcasts out there. So there's a lot of free resources to help somebody begin to shape things together, and even some free technology tools to begin to piece things together to where they might be able to find an advisor that will work with them. But there are advisors that are working on all levels to the high net worth individuals we're used to seeing, but we have subscription models and memberships and clubs and all these different ways, coaches. Financial advice is coming to more and more people. So that I hope that maybe when we do More Than Money 2, we have even more progress towards that going on. But I just want to piggyback on that idea just a little bit as well. Well, one of the things that's been fun during the podcast is to show a little of the human side of the advisors, which you already have done when you're talking about the emotions of working with your friend and everything. But I also think it's fair for us. I shared my financial boo-boo right now of not having everything easy for my wife. It's not bad, but not all the way.
Yeah.
Let's start on the high note. What's your best personal finance decision that you've made?
I think investing in my career is, when I look at my balance sheet, my net worth, and I ask, how did I get where we are? And my husband and I both benefited from education, and we don't mind working for people, but the ability to invest in my career, become a financial planner, I'm a huge proponent. I think it's a profession that is underappreciated, and it should be pushed more in schools. And I know you've done a lot of work to support that, Justin. But choosing to continue to kind of climb the mountain of first investing and then financial planning, eventually becoming a co-owner of my former firm, and then establishing Pearl Planning almost 5 years ago. That has been huge. And for so many people, and we don't talk about this enough, I guess, your human capital, your ability to earn, is your biggest asset, even if you inherited a huge account, or it can be. And so for me, that managing my career has been my best financial decision.
And for those that aren't familiar with the terminology of human capital, Melissa hit on it, like your ability to earn income. And for a lot of situations, when we work with clients and we look at, cutting expenses and trimming the fat and making changes, like sometimes the only answer to improve a financial situation is to go make more money. And that's not an easy thing as an advisor to say, because it sounds very disingenuous, but you can only cut so much fat. Like you can only get your budget down so much. And if you're still not in a good position, then you have to go make more money in your human capital. And whether that is investing through education or investing in being an entrepreneur and courses and other things, I do think that we don't encourage people to invest enough in themselves because it's very hard to calculate the return on that investment. You can go back over time and see Pearl Planning's growth and be able to kind of put some numbers to it. But for a lot of people, maybe that investment isn't obvious. They went and took this course, and down the road, they find themselves further along because of the information, and they don't make that connection. And we want a quick fix. We want to get rich right away. So to say, go pay money to invest in a course and that it will help you in the long run. And, I might not even tell you how much it helped you, but I know that it will. It's kind of tough to do. So I think that investing in yourself is a great idea. And for those keeping track at home, that is yet another one that has nothing to do with an actual investment. So no advisor to this point has said, when I bought this stock at this price, that was my great. It's all been bigger picture stuff like you're talking about, experiences.
Yeah, all my clients get the same I get the same investments all my clients do, which, I'm very proud of, but it's not, that is not it. And we didn't inherit huge accounts, and we've been very successful. I say we, Jeff and me, my husband and I, and, part of that was an entrepreneur's income, and Jeff has always been a W-2 employee. So I don't want to discount the value you can bring in a traditional employer-employee relationship.
So, to be transparent and fair, we've talked about the good financial decisions. On the flip side, this is the bonus question nobody knows before they come into the episode. I've been trying to frame it in a more positive way, but to still get the same information. So what is the less than ideal financial decision you've made that taught you the greatest lesson?
I can make a really long list of less than ideal.
Is there one that sticks out the most?
Okay, so one that sticks out that I'm happy to share because of that courageous authenticity and being real, that is company value. When I was 24 or 25, I had a vehicle that I had purchased super cheap back in the day when you could, get a vehicle for $15,000 or $20,000. And I did not understand, even though I was an employee of a financial planning company, I did not understand how to get insurance. I thought it was hard. I didn't know you could just call and be like, insure my car. How much do I pay? And I let my lack of understanding result in not having a lapse in insurance for my vehicle. And I got hit by a semi and totaled my car. And, so sorry, in Michigan, too bad, so sad, you need a new car and you have no insurance. And it was completely by a lack of knowledge and understanding of asking. And I was, a year or two post-college. So I just didn't know what I didn't know. And that's I'm a person who likes to spend money. So I've always wanted to make more and then save a bunch, but also, enjoy spending money. But this is one that probably a lot of people don't talk about, which is, ask people when you don't understand how to do things. And I think for those listening too, give your kids basic financial literacy, whether it's preserving your vehicle by changing the oil or, hey, I was fortunate my parents covered my insurance during college. Hey, Melissa, here's how it works. You call the company and you say, I need insurance. It's really not that hard. It just was intimidating to me because I didn't understand. And that led me to ignore something that was really important.
Well, I appreciate you for being authentic and sharing that answer. But I think it's only good. I think that, again, to try to break down the barriers between advisors and consumers and people looking for, we're human beings as well. It doesn't mean that we don't make silly money mistakes. It doesn't mean we're going to make those same mistakes with your money. Again, going back to I am more diligent about my clients than probably I am for myself, because it's one thing to mess myself up, but I don't want to mess somebody else up. So I think it's good that we share these little mistakes that we've made and we've learned from. And a lot of times they are further back in the past.
Yeah.
We learn from those lessons, and then we learn to ask people for questions so we don't make a similar mistake in a different area.
Well, and I always tell people with financial planning, at least at Pearl Planning, you don't need don't bring me your good hair day. You don't need to get dressed up to come to your meeting or hop on the Zoom. And that's a metaphor for, I want to hear what is stressing you out. I want to hear what is embarrassing for you to ask that you don't feel comfortable asking the stodgy old school financial advisor. So don't bring me your best picture of yourself. Tell me what's actually going on so I can really help you. And so, I can be real with them too, that I've made mistakes over the years. The reason I don't think that, your 21-year-old should inherit all your money if something happened to you is because I was 21 once. So, yeah.
Well, I know that this project was a lot of time between writing and editing and peer editing and contributing to the book. So first, I want to thank you for dedicating your time to the book. But I also wanted to give you the opportunity to share what was the main reason that you wanted to participate? Like, why did you decide to take time away from the business or from family to be able to write your chapter and help make this book come to be?
Well, I just have to give you and everyone who worked on the book and created that vision and inspiration credit, because it certainly wasn't because of me that we got to this amazing point. But it's just such a powerful opportunity to deliver a message. It's always been on my bucket list to share more and give more. And I'm at the point in my career where the one-on-one sharing I continue to do, but is an obstacle. And providing a voice, because time is such a limited resource, and in my family and my growing financial planning team have to be a priority. And so this is an extraordinary opportunity to communicate in a different way. In terms of, I have to say selfishly, there's a legacy component too that just, how could you miss an opportunity like this? So, but it's so amazing to have started with some Zoom calls like, hey, you in? And to be here today. So, wow.
Well, I want to point out, I'm sure we have mentioned it before in the series of episodes, but you committed to this when we were considering self-publishing. The plan was we were going to write this book. Yeah. We were going to put it through Amazon. So yes, you still would have been a published author and there'd be the legacy side, but it wasn't like we were like, hey, Harriman House says they want to collab with us on a book and then come do it. Like, you got in before it had the reach that it's going to have now. So again, I've told everybody this, or I've told most people this, and maybe I didn't think about the first couple episodes, but this book wouldn't be complete without all of the chapters. So if you weren't able to contribute, the book still would have been good, but it wouldn't be this great version that it is today. So thank you for taking the time to do it. And also thank you for being the advisor that you are and building the firm that you're building. I'm excited to see it growing, because that means more and more people are coming alongside you so you guys can do more good. So thank you for being a great author, but also thank you for being a great advisor as well. If anybody wants to follow you, I'll put show notes in, but where can they follow you on social media?
I'm on Twitter, Melissa Joy CFP, for the financial advisors in the room. And LinkedIn, we put a lot of information that's more, kind of planning content. I have a podcast called 52 Pearls Weekly Money Wisdom. It's delivered weekly. I have a co-host as well, but that is, if you're a listener who is a woman, it's not only for women, but our primary audience is millennial and Gen X women. And part of that addition to the company is we now have some of the best divorce financial planners in Michigan. So we have a divorce financial planning podcast as well. So all of that information is at our company, pearlplan.com.
All right, and if you're watching this on All About Your Benjamins or watching on YouTube, I'll have it in the show notes so you can find it a lot easier, but just give you the chance to shout it out to people who are watching or listening on the podcast. So, Melissa, thank you.
You're awesome, Justin. Thank you for doing
thank you for joining. Thank you for telling the story. Thank you for writing the story. Everybody watching or listening, thank you for tuning in. By now, if you've not bought this book, More Than Money, shame on you. Go buy a copy. Again, all of the proceeds from the AGC side go to financial planning organization. So I'm not getting anything. Melissa's not getting anything. Again, this was a true donation of time and energy, because we get nothing from it other than the ability to share our message, help people find out what real financial planning is, and then raise some money for organizations that are moving our profession forward so it doesn't look like the old days. So go grab yourself a copy, buy one for your friend, and we appreciate that. And as you do all of that, remember, Financial planning, it's much, much bigger. It's more than just the money, hence the name of the book, More Than Money. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you all in the next episode.